Hey guys, welcome back to RHR Jen. I'm so glad you're here. Let's have a conversation. You guys, let's see, today I'm recording this on Tuesday. We did a live chat tonight where I reacted to the podcast trailer that Meghan has just dropped. I go through lots of points and talk about why it's absolutely ridiculous and hypocritical and par for the course for Harry and Meghan. Now, also on that live, dropped the Gwyneth Paltrow video and the Scent-a-Ball thing and so many things. So I don't know what day this is going to go up. It really just depends. But I wanted to make sure that you saw my reaction to the podcast trailer. It's worth talking about. It's worth getting into and discussing all the crazy things she's promising on this show. Lazy effing grifters, anyone? Yeah, me too. Okay. But let's get into this. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, I'm Jen. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. It really does help me out. Now let's get into this video. Err to the side of caution. And I'm not going to be playing it because it has music throughout, but I'm going to talk you through it because I have the transcript and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it. And it's still going to be just as dumb whether you hear the actual trailer or you hear me read the transcript. In fact, if you like, I could try to do a Meghan impression if that will help things. Again, I'm sorry in advance for that. Okay, I have the transcript in my phone. Let me get that real quick. Hold on. Okay. Let's see here. Here it is. Okay, ready? I'm Meghan. It's just this loud music that's playing, and here's the background. And again, reminder: the podcast is Confessions of a Female Founder, which, by the way, makes my name Ginfessions of a Female Founder because that makes as much sense. Confessions of a Female Founder. So it says, I'm Meghan, and this is Confessions of a Female Founder, a new show where I chat with female entrepreneurs and friends about the sleepless nights, the lessons learned, the laser focus that got them where they are today. Don't worry, I'm going to break this all down line by line. I'm just reading all of it real quick. There's not much to it. We're diving into the highs and the lows and the kind of advice that turns small ideas into billion-dollar businesses. What? And of course, we're going to get some girl talk. And of course, we're going to get some girl talk. And through it all, I'm building my business of my own, building a business of my own, and getting all sorts of practical advice along the way that I'm very excited to share with you. So join me for Confessions of a Female Founder. Okay, let's go by line and talk about this because I have some thoughts and I can already see you guys have some thoughts. Oh, Lord is right. That's right. Oh, Lord. Here we go. First of all, I wrote, this is boring. These are I did stream of conscious notes as I was listening to this. This is boring. She's once again so boring with her word salad and her tone of voice that she can't make it interesting. So they have to pipe in insanely loud music. So that's mostly what you hear is this loud music, which is why I'm hesitant to play it. So she goes in and says, I'm Meghan. This is Confessions of a Female Founder. That is the most clunky, god-awful name that has nothing to do with any of the other brands or anything in general. Why are there confessions? Why? How is this helping? We're setting women backwards by acting like it's new and novel for women to be female, women to be female. CEOs and business founders and business leaders and stuff. What an antiquated approach to look at this. Let's see. I will chat with female entrepreneurs and friends about the sleepless nights. Okay. So my notes on this is, why do they want to chat with you? Someone who's been handed everything. Why? That doesn't make any sense. What's in it for them? They've succeeded, it sounds like, but you haven't. So what do you have to offer? Sleepless nights. Okay. Again, I'd like to remind you all that she's accused, as part of the bullying accusation, she is accused of messing with people's time, basically by sending these insanely early emails and expecting like answers and things, and expecting people to be on her time rather than the other way around. So it's funny to talk about sleepless nights because that popped into my head. Lessons learned. Since when did I almost said Mary and Hagen, Harry and Meghan learn lessons about anything? If she had learned her lesson, she would have realized her last podcast was a complete failure and leave it at that. So this is not a lesson learned. This is just Meghan being Meghan, trying to throw anything at the wall that will stick and see, make it about herself. I don't know. The other thing I want to point out is she's making a big deal about interviewing people. And I'm sorry, she's a terrible interviewer. I think the key, I'm still learning. I practice every time with interviewing people. And every time I feel like I get a little bit better. And I think one of the keys is you can't focus on yourself. You have to actively listen to what the other person is saying to you so you can thoughtfully ask questions or build upon what they're saying. If I didn't listen to, again, I've worked with Chef Matt and John Witherspoon lately. If I didn't listen to them and thoughtfully give feedback or respond, I would miss a lot of the jokes or a lot of the tips that were being given. Speaking of, I do see the supers coming in. I promise to read those in just a minute. I just wanted to finish my thoughts on this, but it's just so crazy to me. It's so crazy that she thinks that she's in a position to do any of these things. Again, she's a terrible interviewer. We just saw her on her show ignore her guests and make everything about herself. So that does not a good podcast host make, or anything, a good person. And then she says, let's see here, I've got my notes and the transcript. She says, the lessons learned. She doesn't learn lessons about anything. If she did, it'd be as simple as changing up what she's wearing. You know what I mean? Like, or how she acts toward people or any of it. She doesn't. How she treats Harold, she doesn't. So she doesn't learn any lessons, neither does Harold, of Harold and Fraud. Let's see. In the laser focus, since when have they been laser focused on anything? Anything laser focused. The only thing she was laser focused on is marrying Doofus, right? And infiltrating that family. And then again, it goes, I just wrote music because it's all about the music, not about what she's trying to advertise. The song keeps saying something about moving up. And I was thinking, that's what she's trying to do. What, get a bigger house? What are we doing here? Diving into the highs. And I just wrote on my notes, LOL substances. See, Mel, we were on the same page. LOL substances. The lows. Oh, no. That's what Meghan thoughtfully added to that part. So it said, we'll be diving into the lows. Oh, no. What? Again, setting women backward. We're capable of more thoughts than just, oh, no. Like, let's have an actual dialogue here. Let's learn something. She has nothing to offer anybody. Advice. Harry and Meghan are not qualified to give anybody advice on anything. What do they know about anything? They cock up everything that they're handed, and they're handed a lot of stuff, opportunities that a lot of us would kill for. They're handed to them, and they just mess them up because they can't be bothered, or I don't know, their personalities suck. Let's see here. The next part was, and of course, oh no, I'm sorry. The kind of advice that turns small ideas into billion-dollar businesses. I'm sorry, what? If so, why can't they use that advice? If it was that easy, why can't they turn anything into a working, profitable business? They don't seem to be able to do that. And I'd like to remind everyone that business, as a lot of us, male and female, which, by the way, friends behind the scenes that were so helpful were pointing out, why would she want to just immediately alienate all the men? Because she does, just over and over. It's just like no boys allowed. Like, what year is this? Again, where's the equality of it all? What's going on? This is so weird. It's so antiquated the way she's looking at all this, I think. But remember, Bill Simmons, love him, called them lazy effing grifters, and also pointed out that Harry had the worst ideas. He said, remind me to tell you one night, I'm going to get it wrong. In a nutshell, he said something along the lines of, remind me to tell you one night when I've had too much to drink about the ideas that Harry had for some podcasts. I think that's hilarious. So why would, that's what I was about to say, the same thing, Peggy. Why would anyone take advice from either of them? But it's, her. In this case, why? What makes her qualified to talk about anything? And then the next part is, let's see, businesses, girl talk. During that, there's a voiceover that says something like, "Did you do your best?" And I wrote, "Did you, Meghan? Did you do your best?" Do you remember that's something she said in the Netflix trailer? I tried my best. I tried my best. I'm putting it on like that because I believe that was when, remember one of the personnel that worked for her that she liked to use as examples with no names, just these vague stories that we're supposed to just believe. She collapsed into his arms and said, "I tried my best." And he goes, "I know you did, ma'am. I know you did." Ugh. Does anybody have a Band-Aid for eyeballs? Because I think I've just strained mine from rolling my eyes so hard. Seriously, what in the world? Um, let's see. So yeah, you did your best. And I said, "Did you, Meg?" And then of course we're going to have some girl talk. I would like to remind you all once again that in the bullying report by Jason Knopf, allegedly, I've heard in some of the books that I've read and stuff, that was one of the things that he accused her of, is always having somebody in her sights, particularly women. We all know women like this. It's not okay. The allegations of tea throwing, again, they are allegations, but it was alleged she threw it at a woman. We have all these people crying at their desks and leaving, again, allegedly, because of Meghan's behavior. I know I have to say that, but I'm saying, like, I think there's a lot of stories. And if nothing else, we have eyeballs and brains. So look at her treatment of Her Majesty the Late Queen and Catherine, Princess of Wales. They're both women. They're both successful women who have done incredible, extraordinary things. Look at Her Majesty the Late Queen. She's one of the most extraordinary women I can think of. You have the opportunity to learn from her, but instead, that's how you treat her. So what makes you qualified to recognize a successful, I keep going back to woman because that's all she focused on, but a successful person? You wouldn't know that. You can't recognize anything. Let's see. And then she says, girl talk. And then she says, "Oh, and through it all, we're building a business of my own." I'm sorry, what now? Again, building a business of my own. What about American Riviera Orchard? Are we just going to pretend like that wasn't a big fat flop that just happened? Was that not your business? What are we talking about? Like, what else? Everything you touch is a big fat flop. What about Sussex Royal? Wasn't that your business? I don't know if legally Archwell is considered a business, but it seems like a business. Would you call that successful? Because it seems like there's just a lot to this, like a lot of failure there on behalf of, and again, I don't like to just blame her. So him too. Together, they have completely missed the mark on every project they've taken on. And yet they're going to give it. Okay, she's going to give advice on a podcast, sure, to successful women. Women who are already successful do not need Meghan's advice. And it's going to be it already is the Meghan show. You just can't make sense out of this at all. Yeah, Elizabeth is pointing out, I have to say allegedly, the allegation is that Meghan threw a whole pot of scalding hot tea at a waitress in Oz, burning the woman badly. The Queen had to pay $250,000. So we have to say that's alleged, unless we can find specific proof. That is the allegations. I'd heard a similar story. I don't know, even if it's, how sometimes like the telephone game things get spun out, even if it's even kind of something like this, that is awful. Awful. You don't get to, that's not even acting like a toddler. That's like psychopathic. But I'm saying, like, you don't get to act like a little kid if you don't get your way and throw things. That's not how this works. Again, who is she to give anybody advice about anything? But again, I have to say that's alleged because they are on the warpath right now. And everything said here is my opinion and how I understand things at the time of the recording. See, John has taught me things. He's taught me how to say things like that. Thank you, John, if you're watching. He's still probably like, "Oh God, don't say that, Jen, don't say that." Okay. But I'd like to keep going. Okay. So getting all sorts of practical advice along the way. Again, even if she gave specific advice, on whose authority? Who are we learning from here? The big thing is, and again, I wish I could take credit for it. A good friend of mine behind the scenes pointed out, even in the clips, it was just voices with no names mentioned, no introductions. It's not like, okay, and here's, XYZ successful entrepreneur that's going to teach us about this. We got nothing. So it's just these voices that we don't know giving sound bites about cliches. They sound like it all, honestly. I see the supers. Thank you so much. I will read those in just a minute. I just got to finish my thought. Remember those motivational posters from like the 90s and early 2000s? Don't give up. Hang in there. And they'll say like a word like strength. And then underneath it'll be like the power to keep going on. I don't know, whatever it is, with a picture of like a jet. Do you remember these? Because we definitely had them in our house when we were younger. Like I think my dad had like one or two of them, like success means you're not afraid to fail. I don't know, whatever it is. Like hang in there, baby. It just they speak in platitudes. And again, I say, isn't this setting back women? We're smarter than this. We've evolved past this. We're not doing this. So there's that. I had a few more thoughts, and then I want to read the supers, so I haven't forgotten, and I want to read your comments too. Oh, I know, right, Mary? I agree. John's opinion on her fashion was delightful. He's so good because I think that's where John and Chef Matt and not to put, I'm being Meghan myself, I never want to cross into mean, and that's why I tend to gravitate toward people that don't want to cross into mean. I don't want to cross into mean for the sake of being mean. If something looks good, I'll say it. It's just she doesn't often wear things that I like, so that's why I say it. But no, I think they have a good way of explaining things without being mean. So I look for people like that. Okay, let's see here. Then it says advice along the way. Oh, I'm excited to share with you. So join me for Confessions of a Female Founder. Even if you try to abbreviate that. Oh my God. I didn't think about that till now. It's cough. COFF. Cough. Cough. That's her abbreviation. That's her big business idea. Cough. Okay. Yeah, so the last of my notes, it happens April 8th. Don't listen, don't download. I'll handle it. I got this. Don't give her the downloads. History there of, I just have some random notes. History there of her awful stories and awful behavior. She has a history of failing a podcast. She has a history of awful interviews. It completely excludes men. She doesn't name anybody. I talked about that. She's only focused on herself. The whole thing becomes about her. Are we supposed to play a guessing game, but based on the voice? If I took the time to do somebody's show, I don't expect to be on the thumbnail at all. It's not like that, but you would hope that at some point they'd introduce me. I certainly try within the first less than minute, whoever you are. Again, I keep going back to John and Chef Matt because I've had them most recently, but I have women on my show too. Even if the Sidley twins are on, I love them. You guys know who they are, but I'm still going to say, hi, Stephanie. Hi, Nancy, because there's going to be maybe one person. It's more likely they don't know who I am versus them, but still one person that maybe doesn't know who one of us are or one of our names are. It's just common courtesy. And it's a way to thank your guest for their time. Not Meghan. It is the Meghan show. It's going to be all about Meghan. They don't even need names. That's just the vibe I'm getting from this. It's very Mean Girl, if you ask me. Building a business of my own. Again, since when? You've tried. It has not gone well for you. Do you really want to remind everybody of all that? It's crazy. Let's see. Oh, and then again, a friend of mine behind the scenes, brilliant, came up and said, so is that why we got the kids yesterday? And don't worry, we can talk about that weirdo photo too. I talked about that in today's video, but I'm not done talking about that. The kid picture we got yesterday, was that all leading up to this? Maybe. Now I'm wondering if they didn't launch this or I'm just speculating. Did they launch this early to try to deflect because they knew the story about Harry was coming out? Maybe. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on all this. What are your thoughts on the stupid podcast? Have you actually watched the trailer? I love the reactions to the trailer. That was pretty funny. But yeah, it's just more nonsense from the grifters. But, it's just funny to call it out and discuss the ongoing hypocrisy. I appreciate you all so much. Make sure you've liked and subscribed. I would like to thank my Patreon members. You guys have continued to support the show, and it means the whole wide world to me. I really appreciate you, flockers. I really do. If you're interested in Patreon, you can check it out, patreon.com/, Real Housewives Recaps. That's where you can get bonus deep dives, the extra content, all this stuff. Hundreds of videos over there. So check that out if you haven't already. Also, I do have the merch. Everything's fine. It's a stressed out goose through gritted teeth saying everything's fine. Check that out if you're interested. But guys, thank you so much for this. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts to my reaction. Let me know your thoughts to the whole trailer. Anything on your mind. They just keep doing stuff. So, I'll talk about it as they do. They're just oversaturating. They really are. It's just a lot right now, but we got this. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you flockers have the best day. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.